Welcome back. Halftime of the Huskers home opener tonight against the Huskies of Northern Illinois. And as we do every week, a chance to sit down with the president of the University of Nebraska, Ted Carter. Great to be back home. We're going to talk about small businesses tonight. They are certainly the heartbeat, the backbone of the country, and certainly the state of Nebraska. I want to hear from you, though, some talk about how entrepreneurship is being done at the University of Nebraska.
So, Greg, entrepreneurship is a huge priority for our university. We are proud to provide resources to support the next generation of innovators and job creators. The jobs of the future, for the most part, don't even exist yet. And that's why we are equipping students and Nebraskans with the skills they need to not just get jobs, but create jobs. So at the end of the day, we're focused on building a culture of innovation and creative activity. But obviously, we can't do it alone. We need the students, our faculty, our staff, entrepreneurs, and business leaders to work side by side. Working together is how we're going to succeed in growing the state and growing the future.
You mentioned working together. You have a special guest with you here tonight, Dan Hoffman from Invest Nebraska. I'm going to allow you to introduce Dan.
Yeah, it's great to have Dan with us. He's been Invest Nebraska's CEO since 2016 and has been part of the startup landscape of our state for over 13 years. Invest Nebraska uses public and private funds to support high-growth, high-impact companies across the entire state of Nebraska. So prior to joining Invest Nebraska, Dan served as a senior policy advisor in economic development for both governors, Dave Heinemann and Mike Johans. He has a wealth of experience in that area. Dan is a two-time graduate of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln and a member of my President's Advisory Council. We're really fortunate to have him supporting the entrepreneurial ecosystem here in Nebraska and helping to grow our state's economy.
Dan, great to have you with us here. Tell us of what Invest Nebraska does and why high-growth companies matter.
Well, thank you, Greg. It's a pleasure to be here. Let me start off with a fact. Small businesses create almost all new jobs in the United States. Now, small businesses can be defined in one of two ways. One way is primary businesses, or what we call Main Street businesses. The second way is growth businesses, or startups. Invest Nebraska was founded as a statewide nonprofit venture development organization, and we support those types of rapidly growing early-stage startup companies I just mentioned and help them succeed. Startups are often called the engines of economic growth for a state. Here's why. Since Invest Nebraska started investing in startups in 2012, almost $1.5 billion, and that's with a B, billion dollars of venture capital funds from outside of Nebraska have been invested in Nebraska startup businesses.
Boy, amazing numbers there. I understand that Invest Nebraska partners with the university in several different ways. Can you share with our audience tonight some ways that the startup is being helped out by our faculty?
Yeah, Greg, when Invest Nebraska provides financial and operational assistance to startup companies, that includes those founded by University of Nebraska faculty. Let me give you some examples. Carrick Detweiler is a faculty member at UNL with a startup called Drone Amplified that we've invested in. Its fireball dropping drones reduce huge wildfires by using fire in a safe, managed way. The company also hires graduates who may have otherwise taken jobs out of Nebraska. So our investment dollars aren't just growing Drone Amplified, they're growing our state. Here's another example of a startup that we've invested in with the university. Shane Ferreter is an engineer and faculty member at UNL. He and his team build tiny robots that can perform surgery inside the body. Shane's company, Virtual Incision, has received more than $100 million in venture capital investment since 2006, including funding from Invest Nebraska. Keep in mind, this is money that's coming to a Nebraska company, which is run by university faculty and hiring university graduates.
We're visiting with Invest Nebraska CEO Dan Hoffman. Dan, your company supports innovation not only through direct investments, but also through partnerships. What can you tell us about some of your recent partnerships with the university?
Sure. One of our most recent partnerships with the university is related to a $25 million federal award that's going to push the boundaries for robotic innovation in Nebraska. Invest Nebraska developed and led the proposal which established a Heartland Robotics Cluster. It includes $10 million that allows the university to build out a robotics-related research and teaching space at the UNL College of Engineering. The Combine is another example of a great partnership. It's an incubator managed by Invest Nebraska located on Nebraska Innovation Campus for startups in food and ag tech. The Combine supports UNL undergraduate and graduate students, faculty and staff, along with the statewide startup community in the food and ag tech space. It's just one example of many incubators and accelerators we fund and manage. Invest Nebraska is proud to collaborate with the University of Nebraska, and we're extremely excited about making a difference in our state with our university partners.
Dan, thank you so much. Great to have you with us. Thank you for sharing all that information with us, President. It's so good to hear about innovation and entrepreneurship that's happening at the university with partners like Invest Nebraska. Any final thoughts from you?
Well, Greg, first I want to say thank you to Dan. He hit some of the high points of some of the amazing things that are happening on our campuses related to innovation. But I do have one more thing to relate. Last month, we were announced as being in the top 100 academic institutions in the world, not in the United States, in the world, in earning U.S. patents. The University of Nebraska system is number 78 on the list with 45 patents earned last year by our faculty researchers. So what that means is we are one of the best in the world at taking the research breakthroughs of our faculty and then making sure they benefit real Nebraskans. I'm so proud of our remarkable faculty for making this level of success possible. Their work is changing the lives for each and every one of us daily.
Fantastic. Great to see both of you today. President, we'll talk again next week.
Yeah.
Halftime will continue. Come up next.